The glass doors of City Hall glide open as a black woman in a navy suit steps inside. Her heels tap calmly across the marble floor, confidence in every step. She carries a slim leather folder against her chest, not clutching it, just holding it, like someone who knows exactly why she's here. Naomi Ellison lifts her badge toward the inner checkpoint. Her expression stays soft, steady, unbothered. She's been in buildings like this all her life, some welcoming, some not. But this one feels like both at the same time. A uniformed cop standing near the metal detectors tracks her with his eyes. Slow, suspicious. His jaw tightens as she approaches the restricted hallway. He steps forward, blocking her path. "Hold up," he says flatly. "This area is for authorized officials only." Naomi stops, lifts her badge a little higher. "I am authorized." The cop doesn't even glance at it, he smirks. "Right, and I'm the president. Ma'am, step away from the door." A few workers nearby glance over. One of them whispers under his breath, "Not again." But nobody moves. Naomi keeps her voice level. "You're making an incorrect assumption. Please verify my badge." The cop shakes his head. "No need, I know who belongs back there." He reaches for her elbow. Naomi steps back, her voice calm but firm. "Do not touch me, check the badge." He takes a step closer, lowering his voice as if she's a problem he's tired of dealing with. "I said step away, last warning." A receptionist across the lobby watches with wide eyes. A janitor mutters, "This ain't gonna end well for him." Naomi stands still, chin raised. "I'm here for a scheduled meeting. If you verify my—" The cop cuts her off sharply. "I'm not asking again, out now." A tense silence falls over the lobby. Then a voice from the hallway breaks it. "Officer Riker, let her go." Everyone turns. Mayor Marcus Hale walks toward them, his expression stone-hard. Riker straightens. "Sir, she was trying to." The mayor stops him with a raised hand. His eyes never leave Naomi. "Dr. Ellison, I apologize for this." Riker freezes. Doctor." The mayor looks around the lobby, then back at the cop. "You just tried to remove someone you didn't even identify. Someone who outranks every person in this building." Riker swallows. "What? Who is she?" The mayor steps beside Naomi, voice firm and clear. "She's the incoming governor." And the whole lobby goes silent. The mayor guides Naomi through a long hallway lined with portraits of past city leaders. All men, all white, each watching from their frames like silent gatekeepers of an era Naomi has spent her life pushing against. She walks past them with her chin lifted, not in arrogance, but in defiance of a history that rarely left space for someone like her. "Again," the mayor says quietly, "I'm sorry for what happened downstairs." Naomi's voice stays steady. "You don't need to apologize for him. He acted on his belief, and beliefs take time to change." The mayor studies her face, calm, unreadable, but carrying a weariness he has only glimpsed in people who have fought the same battle for too long. "You shouldn't have to accept that," he says. She answers, "I don't accept it, I understand it, and now we fix it." They enter a conference room where department heads sit uncomfortably, pretending they weren't just whispering about what happened. The room falls dead silent. Some straighten their suits, others avoid eye contact. A few stare at her with genuine respect. Naomi takes the seat at the head of the table, not because she wants it, but because it is hers. The mayor clears his throat. "This is Dr. Naomi Ellison. As of next week, she will formally assume her role as governor. Today is a working session for the community reform plan." A few eyebrows rise. A couple jaws tighten. Someone in the back swallows loudly. Naomi opens her folder. Her voice is calm but edged with purpose. "Before we begin, we need to acknowledge a truth we often hide behind paperwork and policy." She looks around the room, directly, unapologetically. Bias is not always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a look, a refusal to check a badge. A ripple of discomfort slides through the room. Naomi continues, "I don't want anyone disciplined for what happened in the lobby. That wouldn't fix the problem. I want us to study it." A councilman stiffens. "You mean make it part of training?" She nods. Real training, real accountability, real truth. Another woman at the table finally speaks gently. Does this happen to you often? Naomi meets her eyes, not with anger, but with honesty that has been earned. More than you'd imagine, less than some, but always enough to remember. The room falls quiet again. This is the first time many of them have ever heard a leader speak of prejudice not as a political concept, but as a lived reality. Naomi shifts the folder toward them. Let's start. She outlines community oversight boards, independent review systems, intervention protocols, and reforms to rebuild trust between law enforcement and marginalized neighborhoods. Her words flow with clarity and precision, the quiet authority of someone who has carried this mission for years. But beneath her calm voice, there is a wound no policy can erase. Years of people assuming she's the assistant instead of the expert. Years of being followed in department stores. Years of being the smartest person in the room and having to prove it twice to be heard once. Years of telling herself to breathe instead of react, to stay composed instead of break, to lead instead of rage. Inside the conference room, she hides all of that under poise. But once the meeting takes a short break, she steps out into an empty hallway. A long exhale escapes her, not dramatic, just human. She presses a hand lightly against the wall, grounding herself in the silence. A janitor passing through the hallway slows down when he sees her. He's an older black man with gentle eyes. "You all right, ma'am?" he asks softly. Naomi gives him a tired smile. "I'm fine, just thinking." He nods knowingly. "Been thinking my whole life, too. Doesn't get easier, but you get stronger." She smiles at him, a real one this time. "Thank you." He tips his head. "Proud of you, whether they know it or not, this place needs you." He leaves, and Naomi watches him go, recognizing the weight behind his words. The older generation sees her as a continuation of a fight they started long ago, and she carries that responsibility every day, though she rarely admits it aloud. Back in the conference room, discussions grow louder, more tangled. Some officials argue logistics, some whisper doubts, some ask questions that show they don't fully understand the communities she fights for. Through it all, Naomi stays centered. She answers calmly. She challenges respectfully. She pushes firmly. Mayor Hale watches her with growing admiration. He leans toward her during a pause. "You know, your presence alone changes the temperature in the room." Naomi lifts a brow. "Is that good or bad?" He smiles. "Necessary." The meeting continues for hours. By the end, even the skeptical members start leaning forward, engaging, asking real questions not out of obligation, but because they're finally listening. When the meeting adjourns, Naomi gathers her papers. Some people approach to shake her hand. Some apologize for the incident downstairs. Some stand silently, unsure how to process what they witnessed. She walks out of the conference room and pauses before the portraits again. The men on the walls stare down, frozen in time, representing decades of leadership built without the voices of people who look like her. She whispers to herself, "Time to change the wall." And then she walks on, steady, composed, carrying the weight of history on her shoulders and refusing to let it break her stride. She doesn't just enter power. She enters purpose. The sun has lowered by the time Naomi steps out of City Hall. The marble steps glow in the late light, and the plaza hums with the distant movement of downtown. She stands still for a moment, letting the quiet wash over her. Meetings, expectations, pushback, approval, all of it swirls through her mind. She pulls out her phone to check her schedule. Her screen shows a reminder. Community Roundtable, Riverside District, 6:00 p.m. She exhales softly. No rest, not today, not any day. As she heads toward her car, she notices a patrol vehicle parked across the street. Same uniform, same department. The silhouette inside looks familiar. Officer Riker. He watches her from behind the windshield, jaw clenched, fingers drumming on the steering wheel. There's something about his stare, not simple embarrassment from earlier, not professional neutrality, but a quiet hostility simmering under control. Naomi unlocks her car. She doesn't look at him again. She won't give his stare power. But once she pulls out of the parking lot, she checks her mirror. The patrol car shifts into traffic right after her. She forces her breath to stay even. She's been followed before, sometimes by strangers, sometimes by fear itself. She turns onto a main road. The cruiser stays behind. She takes a left. It follows. She changes lanes. It mirrors her. By the time she reaches the edge of Riverside, the neighborhood she's visiting, her jaw is tight even though her face remains composed. She turns into a community center parking lot. The cruiser stops across the street. Naomi parks. She sits quietly for a moment, palms pressed against the wheel. Not today, she whispers to herself. Not again. She steps out, adjusts her blazer, and walks toward the entrance like she didn't just spend 10 minutes being tailed for daring to exist in authority. Inside, the center buzzes. Elders play dominoes at the corner. Families wait for free meal boxes. Teen volunteers stack books in a literacy corner. This is one of the communities Naomi fights hardest for: underserved, overlooked, and often treated as an afterthought. A woman with silver braids approaches. "Dr. Ellison, you made it." "Of course," Naomi says, smiling warmly. The woman touches her arm, relieved. "We've been praying someone like you would come, someone who actually listens." Naomi nods. "I'm here to do just that." As people gather in a circle for the round table, Riker steps inside. He walks slowly, deliberately, scanning the room as if searching for someone doing something wrong. He spots Naomi in the center and freezes. She meets his eyes, calm but firm. "Officer Riker, community meeting. You're welcome to stay if you're here to listen." He doesn't respond. He lingers near the back, arms folded. His presence changes the air, tension ripples through the room. A mother whispers to her son, "Don't talk too loud." A teenager shifts uncomfortably. One man mutters, "Here we go." Naomi ignores the shift, pushing forward. "Let's begin," she says. She opens the floor. People start speaking cautiously at first, then with growing honesty. They talk about slow emergency response times, unfair treatment, ignored complaints, and long-standing mistrust. An older man wipes his eyes mid-sentence. "They don't see us as citizens, they see us as problems." A teenage girl steps forward. "My brother got stopped 4 times last month walking home from his job. He works at a grocery store. He's 15. Murmurs of frustration fill the room. A mother stands up, angry, trembling. No one listens. No one cares until something terrible happens, then we become headlines. We want respect before tragedy, not after. Naomi listens to every word, hands clasped, steady, compassionate. When she speaks, her voice is soft but clear. "You deserve dignity without having to earn it with pain." People nod, some tear up. Then Naomi continues. "And I can only fix what I fully understand, so I appreciate you trusting me with this." Behind her, Riker sighs loudly. "This is ridiculous." The room stiffens instantly. Naomi turns around, her expression neutral. "Do you have something to add, officer?" He shrugs. "I'm hearing a lot of accusations and feelings, not a lot of facts." A man in the circle snaps, "These are facts to us." Someone else adds, "We live this every day." Riker scoffs. "Look, I get you're upset, but maybe if people listen to instructions." A woman cuts him off, tears in her eyes. "My son listened. He still got shoved against a car." Riker opens his mouth, annoyed, but Naomi steps between him and the crowd, her voice controlled. "This meeting is for the community. If you want to contribute, contribute, but do not dismiss lived experiences." He lifts a brow. "And you believe all this?" Naomi meets his stare without flinching. "I believe what people show me, and today they're showing the truth." The community members murmur in agreement. Riker shakes his head. "You're going to make things worse. Politicians always come in here stirring things up. Then they leave, and guess who has to clean up the mess?" Naomi answers quietly. "If the truth feels like a mess, then maybe the system isn't as clean as you think." For a moment, the room is silent. Then someone claps. Then another. And soon the room stands behind Naomi, not because she's governor, but because she's theirs. Riker's face hardens. "You people will never understand what we deal with." Naomi responds gently but firmly. "And you will never understand what they deal with until you stop seeing them as you people. The words hang in the air, heavy, painful, undeniable. Riker steps forward, pointing at her. You're going to regret undermining me today. Naomi stands completely still. Is that a threat, officer? He hesitates, realizing eyes are on him. It's a prediction. Naomi breathes slowly. We're done here. She turns to the group. Everyone, thank you. I'll return next week with updates. The crowd applauds her softly as she gathers her documents. But Riker's glare follows her all the way to the door. Once she steps into the quiet evening outside, she exhales sharply. She walks toward her car, each step heavy. The round table helped the community, but something deeper has begun beneath the surface. Something she can feel. She senses footsteps behind her, slow, deliberate. Riker. She turns, chin raised. Why are you following me? He stops a few feet away, hands on his belt. You're dangerous, Dr. Ellison. She looks at him, unblinking. Because I listen to people. Because you make them think they're victims. You're going to make my job harder. Naomi's voice softens, but the steel within it remains. No, I'm trying to make your job fair. He steps closer. You're not ready for what comes with this office. She replies quietly. I've been ready all my life. He leans in slightly. Then don't say I didn't warn you. He turns and walks away, leaving his final words hanging like a shadow. Naomi stands frozen for a beat, not afraid but aware. Something has shifted. Something irreversible. The confrontation wasn't just disagreement. It was the first signal of an escalation she can't yet see. But it's coming, and everything that happens next begins here. Naomi steps into the courtroom hallway, the lingering heat of the police station confrontation still locked inside her chest. She keeps her stride slow, controlled, almost too controlled. Anyone watching her would think she's calm. But inside, she's replaying every word, every smirk, every refusal to listen. The moment she enters the hall, the noise hits her. Reporters buzzing, cameras snapping, political aides shuffling papers, the low hum of a building that runs on pressure and appearances. The world she's entering isn't soft, and she knows it. A security guard sees her and immediately straightens, almost too quickly. Dr. Ellison, Governor-elect, ma'am, welcome. Your meeting is just down the hall. She gives a polite nod. Thank you. As she walks, people stare, some respectfully, some with curiosity, some with the kind of expression that quietly says she doesn't belong here, someone else was supposed to win. But she keeps walking, shoulders steady, posture dignified. Inside the conference room, Mayor Hale is already waiting. He rises quickly when she enters. Naomi. His tone is softer than it was in the lobby, different, almost concerned. She gently closes the door behind her. You didn't have to follow me from the station. He exhales, rubbing his forehead. I needed to make sure you got here without another scene. She sits careful, composed. The scene wasn't my doing. He nods immediately. I know, and trust me, the chief is already drafting an apology. But Naomi, look, this is going to happen more than once. Her eyes lift toward him, calm, sharp. You're telling me to prepare myself. No, he says, sinking into his chair. I'm telling you I want to stand with you when it does. For a second, her expression softens. Not much, but enough to show she heard the sincerity. Then the door opens abruptly. 3 state committee members walk in. Older, white, polished, clearly not expecting her to already be seated at the head of the table. Their steps halt for half a second, barely noticeable, but Naomi catches it. Ah, Dr. Ellison, the first one says. He forces a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. We weren't informed you'd be joining this meeting personally. She keeps her tone mild. I assumed decisions about the transition would benefit from my presence. The second member clears his throat. Well, yes, but this is mostly procedural, budget talk, staff rearrangements, early scheduling. Nothing that requires hands-on involvement. Mayor Hale watches Naomi carefully. She folds her hands on the table. I prefer to be involved. The committee members exchange glances. A silent conversation plays on their faces. She's going to be difficult. She's not falling in line. She's not the type we can manage. The third member, a silver-haired man with a gentle voice that feels rehearsed, leans forward. Well, Governor-elect, it's admirable that you're enthusiastic, truly. But the previous administration handled these matters a certain way, and continuity is important. The public expects stability. Naomi's gaze stays locked on him. Continuity is important, but so is accountability. He tilts his head. Accountability for what exactly? Naomi opens the folder she brought, slowly, deliberately. Inside are photos, community centers abandoned mid-construction, schools with leaking roofs, a police misconduct report buried in the last administration's files, environmental alerts ignored in low-income neighborhoods. She slides the packet across the table. The first committee member stiffens. Where did you get all of this? It was handed to me by the mayor, she says plainly, and confirmed by multiple departments that were told not to speak out. The room tenses. Mayor Hale folds his arms, eyes on the committee. She's not here to play ceremonial governor. She's here to lead. A long silence. Finally, the second member closes the folder sharply. These matters are sensitive. Reopening them could cause public distrust. Naomi sits forward. The public already distrusts the system. Their distrust isn't caused by exposing wrongdoing, it's caused by covering it. The silver-haired member gives a strained laugh. You're passionate, that's admirable, but idealism can make a governor's first months very difficult. Naomi's voice stays soft, but resolute. Justice usually is. The first committee member leans back in his chair, irritation tightening his jaw. Dr. Ellison, we respect your intelligence, truly, but we need to ensure this administration remains functional. The previous governor had protocols for a reason. And those protocols allowed corruption to thrive, Naomi replies gently. I don't intend to follow them. The three men freeze. Mayor Hale lowers his gaze and hides a small smile in his hand. The silver-haired member tries again. Governor-elect, we understand your position, but political storms are dangerous. If you move too fast, you could lose support, she finishes for him. Yes, he admits, exactly. She closes the folder, her expression calm and impossible to read. If doing the right thing costs me political support, then it was support worth losing. Silence again. This time heavier. The first committee member stands abruptly. Fine, if that's your stance, we will adjust. But we must insist you stay away from certain investigations until you're formally sworn in. Naomi studies him quietly. Which investigations? His silence is answer enough. Naomi rises slowly. I appreciate your concern, but let me be clear. If someone is being hurt, ignored, or silenced, I won't wait to act. The second member gathers his notes hurriedly. We'll reconvene next week. The door closes behind them, leaving Naomi and the mayor alone again. He leans back, exhaling. Well, that could have gone worse. She smirks slightly. Could it? Absolutely, he says. They didn't storm out yelling. She shakes her head, amused despite herself. They're scared. Of you, he asks. No, she says, of what I'm going to uncover. He nods. You're right. A pause follows, heavier this time. The mayor leans forward, voice low. Naomi, there's something I didn't tell you yet. Her brows lift. What is it? He hesitates. The old administration didn't just abandon projects. They buried complaints, silenced whistleblowers, fired investigators, and one of them, one who tried to expose everything, disappeared. Naomi's heartbeat slows. Disappeared, she repeats. Yes, he says, 3 years ago. She stares at him. What was their name? He hesitates again. Then he says it softly. Aaron Ellison. For a moment, Naomi doesn't breathe. Her brother's name feels like a strike against her ribs. She swallows. You think his disappearance is connected. The mayor watches her face carefully. I think the people you're about to confront know more than they admit. Her hands tighten at her sides. And you didn't tell me earlier, why? Because, he says softly, I needed you to step into this role for the right reasons, not just personal ones. She steps back, her breath shaking for the first time since the police station. This whole time, all of this might be connected to him. Yes. She closes her eyes briefly, steadying herself. When she opens them, they're different, sharper, wounded, burning with purpose. I'm going to find out what happened to him, she says. The mayor nods gently. I figured you would. And I'm going to tear down every wall they built to hide the truth. Another nod. I know. Naomi walks to the door, voice low but unbreakable. They have no idea what's coming. She steps into the hallway. For the first time since arriving, her expression shows raw emotion, loss, anger, longing, determination, but only for a second. Then her face sets back into calm, powerful resolve. The fight has officially begun. Naomi steps into the elevator with the same steady calm she carried through City Hall, but now her pulse is louder. Each floor number glows briefly as the elevator rises, 345, the quiet hum of machinery filling the space. She grips the railing lightly, her knuckles paling. She doesn't want it to show, but the weight of her brother's name still hangs inside her chest, heavy like a stone dropped into deep water. Aaron Ellison, gone 3 years, filed as a disappearance, treated like a footnote. And now, suddenly, he's part of the political labyrinth she's stepping into. When the elevator doors open, her assistant, Jordan, nearly bumps into her. Oh, Dr. Ellison, I was just coming to get you. He looks frazzled, breath uneven, tablet hugged against his chest. You're gonna want to see this. She softens a little. Jordan, breathe. He nods too fast. Right breathing, okay, follow me. They speed walk down the corridor, Jordan in short, nervous strides, Naomi in long, controlled steps. He leads her into a smaller briefing room where a monitor glows with paused footage. Security footage. Jordan taps the screen. This is the file they emailed me anonymously this morning. No sender, blocked address, encrypted. It took all morning just to open it. Naomi's heart hits a slow, heavy beat. Play it, she says. Jordan taps again. The grainy footage begins. A dim basement hallway. A man being escorted by 2 officers, not in uniform, just dark clothes, badges barely visible. The man they're leading walks slowly, shoulders slumped, hands cuffed in front of him. Naomi leans closer. The camera angle catches the man's face for exactly 2 seconds. Jordan whispers, "It looks like him, doesn't it?" Her lips part, breath catching. It is Aaron. Younger looking than she remembers, tired, but alive, definitely alive. His eyes dart around like he's scared, confused, or both. The officers shove him forward and the screen cuts out abruptly, ending in static. Naomi's voice is barely a whisper. Where was this recorded? No location, no timestamp, Jordan says. But I compared the tile pattern. It matches the sub-basement of the old administration building, the one that's been closed for renovation since the last governor left. Naomi stares, stunned and silent. Her brother wasn't just missing. He was taken. She looks at Jordan. Does anyone else know about this? No, just us. I didn't send it to anyone until I talked to you. She nods. Good, keep it that way. Jordan swallows. Dr. Ellison, what exactly are we walking into? She doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she replays the 2-second glimpse of her brother in her mind. His face, his fear, the way he looked like he wasn't supposed to be seen. Then she says quietly, something big enough that people in power are willing to hide it. Jordan nods slowly, eyes widening. Naomi closes the laptop. Jordan, I need background files on everyone who worked in that building in the last 3 years. Maintenance workers, contractors, clerks, anyone with sub-basement access. That'll be a lot of names. I know. He nods with resolve. I'll get started. When he leaves, Naomi stands alone in the silent room. She places her palm over the laptop, as if she could reach through the screen and touch that blurry, terrified version of her brother. I'm coming for you, she whispers. The door opens again. Mayor Hale steps inside. You okay? She straightens immediately. Yes. He sees the tension in her shoulders but doesn't call it out. His eyes flick to the laptop. Got something? Maybe. He considers her expression, reads the storm behind her restraint. Naomi, he says gently, I know what you're thinking, but don't rush alone into something dangerous. If they're willing to disappear someone, they won't hesitate to. I'm not afraid of them, she says flatly. I know, he replies, that's what scares me. She looks him square in the eye. I'm going to the building. He shakes his head. No, not now, not without clearance. They'll have logs, cameras, security. If you walk in there, they'll know exactly what you're looking for. Then they'll know I'm not hiding, she says. He steps closer, voice firmer. Naomi, you can't help your brother if you get yourself targeted. Her jaw tightens. He tries a different tone, softer, coaxing. Let me go first. You, she asks, startled. You can't be seen investigating this yet. I can. She studies him carefully. Why would you risk that? He shrugs slightly. Maybe because someone has to. Maybe because I owe your brother that much. A pause. Maybe because I don't want you walking alone into a place someone tried very hard to bury. Her eyes soften barely. You're not responsible for me. No, he says quietly, but I care whether you make it to Inauguration Day. She looks away briefly, swallowing tension she doesn't want to show. Finally, she says, Fine, but I'm coming with you. He sighs. Of course you are. 2 hours later, near sunset, Naomi and the mayor stand outside the old administration building, a tall gray structure with boarded windows and a temporary, under-renovation sign that hasn't fooled anyone in years. A chain-link fence surrounds the property. A padlock dangles from the gate. Naomi steps forward and inspects it. It's new, recently replaced. Mayor Hale nods. They're hiding something inside. Naomi glances around the empty lot. The streetlights flicker on. Cars pass occasionally, but no one stops. The place feels abandoned, wrongfully, intentionally abandoned. Marcus, she says quietly, if my brother was held here, then others were too. He nods grimly. She grips the fence. We need inside. And we will, he says. Not tonight, not without grounds. She smirks faintly. You think a gate is going to stop me? I think an arrest will stop your entire transition, he counters. She gives him a cool stare, and he lifts his hands in surrender. Look, I'm not saying you shouldn't open this. I'm saying, let me get you legal leverage first. A warrant, an inventory request, something they can't ignore. Her voice lowers dangerously. You think they'll honor a warrant? He hesitates. That hesitation answers the question. No, she says softly. They won't, not if they've been hiding this long. He sighs. And what do you want to do? She rests her hands on the cold metal of the fence, eyes dark with determination. What they fear most, she says. The truth. Before he can respond, a loud click echoes across the lot. They both stiffen. The building's side door, a rusted, forgotten metal door, slowly creaks open about 6 inches. No footsteps. No voices. Just an unlocked door where everything should be sealed shut. Mayor Hale whispers, someone's inside. Naomi steps toward the building, heart pounding. No, she says. Someone wants us to come inside. Naomi freezes at the sight of the cracked open side door. For a moment, all she hears is her own breathing, steady but tight, like her lungs are rationing courage second by second. The mayor steps closer, placing one hand gently on her arm as if he's preparing to pull her back if she moves too fast. Naomi, he murmurs, this might be a trap. She keeps her eyes locked on the door. Or a cry for help. He glances around the empty lot. There's no movement, no shadows shifting, no cars slowing, just silence thick enough to choke on. Either way, he says, you shouldn't go in alone. She finally looks at him, gaze strong, unwavering. I'm not alone. He exhales, realizing there's no stopping her. All right, together. They approach slowly. The building looms over them, tall, suffocating, and soaked in decades of political secrets. Naomi pushes the door gently, and it swings inward without resistance. The hinges squeak softly, but in the stillness, it feels almost like a warning. Inside, the air is cool and stale. The hallway stretches ahead, long and narrow, lit only by faint emergency lights that flicker with an eerie inconsistency. Dust coats the floors. The walls smell like damp concrete and neglect. Naomi steps in first. The mayor follows, pulling the door closed behind them. The moment the door clicks shut, Naomi feels a shiver run through her spine, not fear, not exactly, but awareness. The kind you get when a place has seen things people weren't meant to. "This doesn't look like any active renovation site," she says quietly. "No," the mayor agrees. "It looks abandoned." They walk deeper into the hallway. Their footsteps echo softly. The further they go, the colder the air becomes, almost unnaturally so. Naomi runs her fingers across the wall and pulls them back covered in dust. "Nobody has been here in months," she whispers. "Then who opened the door?" the mayor asks. Naomi doesn't answer. She's wondering the same thing. They reach the central stairwell. Yellow caution tape hangs loosely across the entrance, torn on one side, as if someone walked straight through it without bothering to remove it. Naomi stops. "Jordan said the footage looked like the sub-basement." The mayor nods slowly. "That's 2 floors down." Naomi grips the railing and begins to descend. With each step, the temperature drops further. The concrete stairs creak lightly. The lights dim. The silence grows louder. Halfway down, the mayor whispers, "If anything feels wrong." "Everything feels wrong," Naomi says, her voice sharp with truth. "That's why we're here." They reach the lower landing. A metal door stands ahead, slightly ajar, identical to the one above, like someone wanted them to keep going. Naomi pushes it open slowly. The sub-basement smells like mildew and old paper, like files left to rot. The corridor is lined with storage rooms, each labeled with fading signs: records, maintenance, old equipment. Naomi pauses outside the first room. "We start here." She pushes the door open. Inside are shelves and metal cabinets covered in dust. Boxes sit stacked haphazardly, some crushed under their own age. But it's the center of the room that makes Naomi's breath catch. A single chair. Metal rusted. Bolted to the floor. The mayor steps beside her, face tightening. "Naomi, this isn't a storage room. Someone used this." She forces herself to move closer. The chair has faded straps, frayed edges. The floor beneath it is scratched, like heavy boots paced around it again and again. Naomi's chest tightens. "If my brother was here." She stops herself before the sentence finishes. The mayor lays a hand on her shoulder. "We don't know that." "But we know someone was," she replies. They leave the room and continue deeper. As they move, Naomi notices something odd. The deeper they go, the less dust there is. The hallway grows cleaner, as though someone has been using it recently. That contrast makes her pulse speed up. "They were here," she whispers. The next door stands slightly open. Naomi pushes it carefully. The room inside is more organized, too organized. A desk with files, a corkboard with faded papers pinned across it, stacks of folders labeled with dates. The mayor lifts one. "These were created under the last administration," he says, "but they were updated recently." Naomi flips a folder open. Inside are names, dozens of them. Alongside each name is a status: released, transferred, unknown. She turns the pages faster. "This is a list of detainees." "This isn't an official detention center," the mayor says quietly. "At least, not one anyone admitted to." Naomi freezes when she reaches the last page. Her brother's name is there. Aaron Elison. Status transferred. Notes priority hold. Her hand starts trembling, the kind of tremble you get when hope collides with horror. "He was here," she whispers. "He was here." The mayor looks at the page over her shoulder. "We need to take this to the AG's office." "No," she says firmly. "Not yet. If we do that now, they'll bury everything before we can prove it." "Then what do you want to do?" She closes the folder gently, almost reverently. "I want to find the person who left this door open." As if on cue, a soft creak echoes somewhere behind them. They both spin toward the hallway. A shadow moves at the far end. Naomi's heart leaps. "Hey," she calls out, her voice commanding. "Stop." The shadow hesitates, only for a moment, then slips around the corner. Naomi takes off running. "Naomi," the mayor calls, sprinting after her. She races down the hallway, her footsteps slapping the concrete as she reaches the corner and turns sharply. But when she rounds the bend, the hallway is empty. No footsteps. No breathing. No doors closing. Just emptiness. "Where did they go?" the mayor says, panting slightly as he catches up. Naomi scans the hallway, eyes searching every shadow. "They were just here. Someone is watching us." She turns slowly, suddenly aware of the dozens of closed doors around them. She can feel eyes unseen but present. "We need to leave," the mayor says. "Not because we're scared, but because we have what we need." Naomi hesitates. Every part of her wants to keep searching. Every part of her wants to tear open every door until she finds answers. But part of her also understands something deeper. Whoever opened that door, whoever leaked that footage, whoever led them down here, isn't trying to hurt them. They're trying to guide them. She exhales slowly. "All right." They walk back to the stairs, folder in hand. But as they reach the first step, Naomi stops. Something is taped to the railing. A small folded note. The mayor notices it too. That wasn't there before. Naomi plucks it from the rail, unfolds it with trembling fingers, and reads the single sentence written in rushed handwriting. "If you want to find him, don't trust anyone inside the building." Her breath stops. The mayor steps closer. "Naomi, what does that mean?" She closes the note carefully, slipping it into her pocket. "It means," she says quietly, "this goes deeper than we thought." They climb the stairs without speaking. Each step feels heavier, each breath colder. When they finally push open the side door and step back into the open air, Naomi looks up at the sky, darkening, heavy, restless. "Marcus," she says, "they're watching us." He nods grimly. And now they know we're watching them. The next morning, City Hall feels different. Not busier, not louder. Just tense, like every wall knows a secret and is waiting to see who speaks first. Naomi walks through the lobby with a calm, controlled stride, but on the inside, she's a storm. The note in her pocket feels heavier with every step. Don't trust anyone inside the building. She sees the same officers from yesterday posted at checkpoints. Most stand straighter when they notice her. Some avert their gaze. One gives a nod that looks too forced, too polite. Jordan meets her at the elevator, eyes wide, shoulders tight. "Dr. Ellison, we have a problem." She knew the moment she saw his face. "What happened?" she asks. He hands her a tablet. "The files, the ones we found in the sub-basement, every copy we made wiped, deleted, even the offline backups." Naomi grips the tablet. "And the original." "Gone," Jordan says. "The office we searched last night, it's empty now, completely cleared out." Her jaw clenches. "So they're cleaning up." Jordan nods hesitantly. "Which means someone on the inside knows exactly what we found." Naomi inhales through her nose, steadying herself. "Get Mayor Hale. Tell him to meet me in the East Wing conference room." As Jordan rushes off, Naomi steps into the elevator alone. The doors close, sealing her inside a small, silent metal box. For a moment, she lets her shoulders drop, drawing in a long breath. Her brother's name. The footage. The warning note. The vanished files. The shadow in the hall. Every piece of the puzzle is pointing her toward a truth she doesn't want to say aloud yet, because once she does, it becomes real. The elevator opens. Inside the conference room, Mayor Hale is pacing. He looks up sharply when Naomi enters. "We have a problem," he says at the same time she says. "They moved everything." He stops pacing. "You saw it too." She nods. He exhales, rubbing his forehead. "They're ahead of us. Whoever ran that operation, they're still active, and they knew we were there." Naomi approaches the table and places her palms on it. as if steadying the whole room. Marcus, we need to talk about something. He looks at her, brows pulling tight. Yesterday, she says, when we were in the basement, that shadow wasn't an accident. Someone wanted us to find that folder. Someone wanted us to see the truth, but not all of it. He nods slowly. And then they cleaned it up overnight, she continues. Which means two possibilities. Either someone inside is helping us, or someone is playing with us. He swallows. And the note. She pulls it from her pocket and sets it on the table. If you want to find him, don't trust anyone inside the building. Mayor Hale stares at it for a long time. Naomi, he says quietly, I need you to tell me what you're thinking. She looks him dead in the eyes. I think someone at the highest level in the state ran a covert detention operation, and I think my brother got caught in it. His face falls. Naomi. And I think someone involved in this building helped cover it up, maybe more than one. He doesn't argue, the silence is answer enough. Jordan bursts into the room, panting. Dr. Ellison, you need to come downstairs. Her body tenses. What happened? Jordan hesitates. It's Officer Rand. The mayor stiffens. What about him? Jordan swallows hard. He's demanding to speak with her, and he's not alone. Naomi and the mayor exchange a look. Where is he? Naomi asks. The atrium, Jordan replies, and Dr. Ellison, he brought people. They rush down the hall. When they reach the atrium, Naomi stops dead. Officer Rand stands in the center, flanked by three men in plain clothes. Their posture is military, their expressions blank, their presence unmistakably hostile. Around them, city employees watch from a distance but pretend they're not watching, eyes drifting over papers, hands frozen mid-typing, bodies stiff like prey animals sensing a predator. Officer Rand's gaze lands on Naomi the moment she enters. There she is, he says. His tone is different today, not smug, not loud, not arrogant. Cold. Calculated. Naomi steps forward slowly, the mayor at her side. Officer Rand, she says evenly, you requested me. He gives a chilling little smile. Governor-elect, yes, we have matters to discuss privately. The mayor steps forward. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of me. Rand chuckles. I don't answer to you. And you don't command her, the mayor snaps. One of the plainclothes men steps forward, posture straight, voice emotionless. Dr. Ellison, he says, we believe you've accessed restricted areas of state property. We require you to come with us for questioning. Jordan gasps. You can't be serious. Naomi lifts a hand. On what grounds? The man replies without blinking. Unauthorized intrusion into a sealed government facility. The sub-basement. They know. Rand tilts his head mockingly. You've been very busy, governor-to-be, snooping around in places you shouldn't be. Naomi steps closer, her expression sharp, voice controlled. And you've been deleting things you shouldn't be. The smile drops from Rand's face. The plainclothes man says firmly, Dr. Ellison, we need you to come with us now. Naomi holds her ground. No, you don't. Rand steps toward her, jaw clenched. You think being next in line makes you untouchable. You're playing with forces bigger than you. You're walking into rooms you don't understand. Naomi lifts her chin. I understand perfectly. Rand's eyes flash a dangerous shade. Your brother understood too, and look where that got him. The entire atrium freezes. Every head turns. Every breath stops. Naomi feels the world tilt for one split second. Say that again, she whispers. Rand smirks. He was warned, he kept digging. He thought he was smarter than the system. And then he snaps his fingers. He vanished. A hot wave floods Naomi's chest, not rage, not grief. Something colder. Sharper. Truth. Mayor Hale steps forward. His voice is low, trembling with restrained fury. You knew about Aaron, you were involved. Rand shrugs. I know a lot of things I'm not supposed to say aloud, but since we're being honest. He steps closer to Naomi, voice almost gleeful. If you don't walk away from this investigation, you'll end up just like him. Naomi's hand fists at her side. She takes one slow step forward until she's only inches from him. "Officer Rand," she says quietly, "you made one mistake." He smirks. "And what's that?" Her voice stays soft, steady, lethal. "You assumed fear would stop me." Something shifts then, not in Naomi, but in the room. City employees begin to stand. Security guards drift closer. A few aides and staffers step into the open, forming a subtle but unmistakable perimeter around her. The mayor moves beside her. "You're not taking her anywhere." The plainclothes men exchange glances. Rand snarls, "This isn't your decision." "Yes," Naomi says, "it is." She pulls the folded note from her pocket and holds it up. "I know someone inside your operation tried to help my brother. I know you're covering up an illegal detention program. And now I know you personally threatened a sitting governor-elect." She steps closer. "And I'm done staying quiet." Rand lunges forward, reckless, furious. But he never reaches her. 3 city security officers intercept him instantly, gripping his arms, pinning him back. The plainclothes men freeze, hesitant for the first time. The mayor steps forward, voice ringing through the atrium. "You just threatened the next governor of this state in front of 40 witnesses." Naomi meets Rand's eyes, not angry, not triumphant. "Just sure. This ends today." Rand spits out, "You have no proof." Naomi's expression remains calm. "I don't need proof for you." She lifts her tablet and taps a single button. All around the atrium, every monitor flickers to life. Grainy footage appears. The sub-basement hallway. 2 officers escorting a man in cuffs. The moment the man's face turns toward the camera. The collective gasp in the room is deafening. Naomi lifts her gaze. "My brother was alive, and you held him." Rand's face drains of color. You weren't supposed to have." Naomi raises her voice, clear and resonant. "This footage was backed up off-site. You wiped the local files, but you couldn't touch the cloud. So let me make something very, very clear." She steps so close to Rand, he has to look up into her eyes. "I am not afraid of you. I am not backing down. And I am not letting you bury my brother." City security tightens their grip on Rand as he thrashes uselessly. Naomi looks at the plainclothes men. "Leave," she says, "now or you'll be next." They hesitate, then retreat without another word. As they disappear through the exit, Rand screams, "You don't know what you're starting. You don't know." Naomi cuts him off. "Yes," she says softly. "I do." She turns away from him, from the chaos, from the shattered silence of the atrium. And for the first time since her brother vanished, she feels the truth rising. And she's ready to face it. The atrium is quieter now. Officer Rand is escorted out, restrained, muttering threats that no one hears anymore. The hum of the building has returned, but it feels different, not oppressive, not indifferent. Alive somehow, like truth itself has shifted the air. Naomi stands in the center, breathing slowly. Her eyes sweep across the room, staff frozen in disbelief, security officers lowering their hands, Mayor Hale at her side. Everyone is waiting, but she doesn't speak immediately. She allows the silence to stretch, to settle the tension. Jordan approaches cautiously. "Dr. Ellison, they confirmed it. The sub-basement is now sealed for investigation. Any evidence left there is protected by law. The Department of Justice has been notified." Naomi nods slowly. Relief flickers, but it's tempered by the weight of what just unfolded. "They tried to erase history," she says softly, voice carrying across the atrium. "But history can't be erased. It waits for the right moment, for the right person to reveal itself." Mayor Hale looks at her with awe. You did that, not just for your brother, for everyone they silenced." She allows herself a small exhale. "Yes, but this is only the beginning." 2 days later, Naomi walks through the hallways of City Hall. The energy is different. Staff move with a tentative hope. Some nod at her, others whisper quietly, sharing what they've known but were too afraid to speak aloud. She recognizes a few faces from the past, employees who had been threatened or ignored for years. She pauses by a small office door labeled State Archives. Inside, Jordan is sifting through files, carefully stacking folders marked Priority, Unsafe Hold. "You found more?" she asks softly. Jordan nods, eyes bright. "Yes, dozens more cases, people who disappeared from public view without any record, all tied to Officer Rand and the network he worked with." Naomi leans on the doorframe, voice calm but determined. "They trusted no one to help them, but now they have me, and will bring every truth into the light." Later that evening, Naomi meets with Mayor Hale in his office. The city skyline glows orange and pink as the sun sets. From this vantage point, the weight of the city feels tangible, almost like it can press down or lift up with the right hands. "Hale," Naomi says, voice quiet, measured, "we've exposed one layer, but this system runs deep. My brother's disappearance is only one piece of the puzzle. There are more victims, more secrets. I need to know how far it goes." Mayor Hale leans back, exhaling slowly. "It goes higher than anyone imagined. Some of the people still in power have stakes in keeping this buried. If you continue, it will cost you, and not just politically." Naomi meets his eyes, unflinching. "I know, but fear isn't going to stop me. I've waited too long for this moment." He nods, silently acknowledging the resolve in her. "You've changed the game already, even just by standing your ground. People are watching. And now, they believe someone finally has the courage to fight back." 2 weeks later, Naomi is standing outside a secure government facility. Media vans line the streets, cameras trained on her every movement. She's calm, poised, the governor-elect with authority, but also with heart. She steps up to the podium. Reporters murmur. The building behind her is a symbol of long-hidden corruption finally exposed. "Today," she begins, voice strong and resonant, "we revealed a truth that was meant to remain hidden. For years, people disappeared, voices were silenced, and injustice was allowed to thrive. My brother, Aaron Ellison, is alive, and he is not the only one whose story we are bringing to light." Cameras flash, phones record, the public listens. "We are going to investigate every file, every record, every room where the powerless were mistreated. Justice is not a promise. It is a responsibility, and it will be fulfilled." The crowd erupts in whispers and applause. Naomi lowers her gaze, thinking of Aaron, safe, alive. The first reunion awaits, but the emotional weight of this victory presses her chest. Not triumph alone, not relief. A mixture of grief, love, and justice finally realized. Inside a small room at the Department of Justice, Naomi finally reunites with her brother. He's thinner, older than she remembered, but alive. The moment is raw, silent. Words are not necessary. Naomi reaches out. Aaron's hand clasps hers, trembling. "It's over," she whispers. "No," he replies softly. "Not yet, but it's starting." They sit together in quiet relief. The walls of injustice around them are still present, but cracks have formed. Light is beginning to seep through. Weeks pass, files are recovered, investigations launched, and a task force forms to address all the wrongful detentions exposed. Officer Rand is suspended and under investigation. Other complicit figures are under scrutiny. The city feels lighter, though still imperfect. Change is slow, but it is now unstoppable. Naomi walks the halls of City Hall one morning, greeted with smiles, gratitude, and cautious hope. She pauses at the main atrium where the confrontation took place. The spot where power met courage, where fear met determination, where truth finally had a voice. She exhales, allowing herself a moment of reflection. This isn't the end. Justice is never complete in a single act, but the foundation has been laid, and she knows her brother, her family, and every silenced voice will finally be heard. Mayor Hale approaches, handing her a folder. "For the next steps," he says. Naomi opens it, scanning the documents. Her expression hardens, but there's a softness beneath it, a reminder of why she fights. "They trusted no one to help them," she murmurs. "Now they can trust me." He nods. "You've proven that courage matters." She turns toward the windows, city lights beginning to twinkle as dusk settles. The skyline is no longer just buildings, it's a symbol of potential, of accountability, of justice. Naomi's face reflects determination, resilience, and a quiet triumph. She lifts her chin. "This is what leadership looks like," she whispers to herself. "Not power, not control, justice." She takes a deep breath. The battle has begun, and the city will never be the same. Outside, journalists file reports, citizens discuss the revelations, and social media explodes with the story. The narrative has shifted. The hidden operation that took her brother cannot hide anymore. Naomi stands, a figure of moral authority, poised to carry the weight of the city and the responsibility of righting wrongs. And somewhere, deep in the city, others who were silenced feel hope for the first time in years. Naomi turns back toward the offices, shoulders squared, eyes clear, ready to continue the fight. Justice has been awakened, and nothing will stop it now. Justice is never given, it is demanded, it is earned, and sometimes it requires standing when the world expects you to kneel. Naomi's journey reminds us that courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it. Her brother was silenced, hidden, and nearly forgotten. But one person's determination was enough to illuminate the truth, to shine a light into the shadows where wrongdoing thrived. This story is about more than one woman or one brother. It is about the countless voices buried beneath bureaucracy, oppression, and fear. It is about the people who are overlooked, ignored, or written off, and the power of integrity to give them a voice. Naomi's fight was not just for Aaron. It was for every soul who had been denied justice, every citizen who trusted in a system that often failed them. And in standing for what was right, she demonstrated that moral courage can topple even the most entrenched corruption. We are reminded that change does not come from silence. It comes from those willing to challenge authority, to speak truth to power, and to demand accountability. Naomi's path was not easy. She faced threats, intimidation, and danger. But in her unwavering belief in justice, she became a beacon for others, showing that the fight for righteousness is never wasted, even when the odds are stacked against you. And here is the final lesson. Fear can be contagious, but so can bravery. One act of courage can ignite a movement. One voice raised in defiance of injustice can ripple through a system built on silence. Naomi's story teaches us that standing up for the powerless, confronting wrongdoing, and protecting truth are responsibilities we cannot ignore. Moral strength is the foundation of real leadership, and integrity is the weapon against corruption. So when you face injustice, big or small, remember this: your voice matters, your actions matter. And even when the world tries to bury the truth, it is always waiting for someone brave enough to uncover it. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs hope, courage, or a reminder that standing up for what is right can change lives.